The other day I had made a video showing how I was using this sewing machine, which is my Singer Model 66-1 with the red-eye decals and a treadle cabinet. It's from 1919, and in part of that video I had to wind a bobbin, and that part of the video came out very dark. So I thought I'd make another very short video on how to wind a bobbin on the Model 66-1. Most of the Model 66s will be similar. The 66-1 is different because it does have back clamping attachments, but that doesn't really have anything to do with the bobbin. Here you see the slide plate, and this is a drop-in bobbin. There is a little button you push, and a lever pops the bobbin up. This bobbin that I'm holding is a vintage bobbin. It's got just one hole in it, and you can see that it's slightly curved. It's a Class 66 bobbin is what this machine takes. Now, the bobbin winder is on the hand wheel attached to the belt guard and hits the hand wheel. And what you have to do, this is a more modern bobbin. It's got more than one hole in it. But what you have to do is push the bobbin on until it fits into a brass pin that sticks out over here on this side. So you should hear it fall into place or feel it fall into place. I had this on there and then I took it off of there to put the thread through it. Oh, there you go. So it just fell in, and at that point you can push the shoe forward, the arm down, and your bobbin is now engaged against the hand wheel. The rubber wheel on the bobbin winder is engaged. I've threaded the thread from the spool to the thread guide, and it's loose right now. It goes through the bobbin from the inside to the outside. The thread that comes from the spool has to go through two thread guides. One is directly in front of the bobbin and one is below it. So now the bobbin and the thread are all set for the bobbin to be wound. This is a treadle machine, but I also have a hand crank on it. I found out the other day it's really easier to use one or the other. Either disengage when winding the bobbin. Either disengage the hand crank or disengage the treadle belt, one or the other. I have the hand crank disengaged right now. So the next step is to loosen. This is the clutch wheel. And I have to put the camera down for a second to hold the hand wheel and loosen. Maybe I can do it with one hand. Loosen the clutch wheel toward you. So now it's loose, and as I turn the hand wheel forward, the bobbin winder is engaged, but not the needle. So now, because this is a treadle machine, we get the treadle going. And holding the camera is the only difficult part right now, because you have to hold that thread until the thread gets going on the bobbin and catches. And you want to make sure that it stays in the thread guides. Now, as soon as it catches and you can see that it's not going to loosen, you can actually trim that thread that's sticking out, which I am going to do now, because I think I've got it wound enough times. Okay, so that's the belt guard you're hearing on the bottom of the treadle. And that's what happens when your thread comes loose, because you're holding a camera. So let me just rethread that through from the inside to the outside, and I'll start the camera again. Okay, I'm now winding the bobbin using the treadle pedal and the treadle belt. The needle is disengaged, and those two thread guides that are in front of the bobbin are the only two guides, other than the one way over on the left, that keep the spool thread under tension to wind the bobbin. And you can go as fast as you want, slow as you want, but you will see that the bobbin, the camera will focus, the bobbin is winding quite well. And this only takes a couple of seconds. When the other day the bobbin winder needed an adjustment, and now that won't be needed for quite a while, if at all. So that's almost full, and the bobbin has wound under good tension, because when you're sewing, that's one of the problems. If you don't wind the bobbin tight enough, it just doesn't stitch well. But this has wound tightly, as you can see. And now I'm going to just trim the thread and pop it back into the bobbin case. And when you put it into the bobbin case, you want the thread to come from the left, like that. You drop it in. There is one little groove there that it goes into, catches in a second groove, and then you just slide the slide plate over and keep it like that. Rethread your machine, and it's always a good idea, I think, to pick the bobbin thread up, put a little piece of fabric there, and let the needle pick the bobbin thread up, and then pull the two of them, even, you know, with your scrap fabric, pull all of that back so that you know that your bobbin thread and your upper thread are both threaded correctly, picked up correctly, and when you go to start a project, you're not going to run into any bobbin problems. I've almost threaded the machine, but before I thread the machine, I have to tighten the clutch wheel. I've disengaged the bobbin winder, and I have tightened the clutch wheel to re-engage the needle bar when I sew. So now what I can do is raise the needle, because I had left it in the down position, thread the needle, and then go ahead and pick up the bobbin thread. Now I have a spare piece of two little squares of fabric there. I have not picked up the bobbin thread yet. Now some people will do it without the fabric, just have the needle pick up the thread and then pull the two of them toward the back. And, you know, I do that a lot of the times too. But this way, I just turn the hand wheel over, make sure the bobbin thread is picked up, which it is, and then pull this toward the back. And that is an easier way than sticking something under here to make sure you catch the bobbin thread. And those are scrap pieces of fabric. So now the machine is ready to sew.